Okay, so today I'm joined by Kristen and Laura from Thank You Books. Thank you so much for joining me. Would y'all like to introduce yourselves further?
Laura Cotton. I am one of the owners here. I'm not from Birmingham. Lived here for about 3 years, and then moved away to Michigan and came back for this a year ago to open Thank You Books.
And I'm Kristen Iskandrian. I'm another owner. There are 3 of us total. I'm originally from Philadelphia. I've lived in the South a long time. My husband and my kids and I moved here from Athens, Georgia about, almost 7 years ago. And yeah, we have family in town all of us kind of trickled down in the Birmingham and also Atlanta area. So here we are.
Yeah.
And we are literally at our bookstore right now.
Bookstore.
As you
We moved from Athens at the same time, but did not know each other in Athens and then met through disco.
Yes.
And both lived in Crestwood, and we're kind of in the literary community in Crestwood.
Yeah.
I guess.
Same matrix.
Yeah.
And then it was
That's very cool.
And mutual friends that brought us together. So
Yeah, I guess that kind of leads into so how did Thank You Books happen? And was it like a multi-year kind of project that you were thinking of putting together, or was it kind of like spontaneous?
No, I mean, in some ways, there were certain spontaneous and serendipitous moments, but it was a pretty long path of planning. I think it's worthwhile mentioning Avid Bookshop in Athens, Georgia. Laura worked there for a while. I spent a lot of time there before moving to Birmingham, and along with some other amazing independent bookstores in the South, it really helped teach me what a community could be, or what a staple of a community could be. I will also say I'm such a lifelong fan of libraries, and kind of for similar reasons. And yeah, I had a book come out in 2017, and I toured for that book and spent a lot of time in bookstores, and it got me thinking about kind of like what my future was in Birmingham, and kind of why not a new, exciting independent bookstore here in my new home. And
we started talking about it. We honestly had dreamt at dinner parties about a bookstore coming to the neighborhood. We had talked about it as though someone else would open it.
Wouldn't it be nice if?
Doesn't Crestwood need a bookstore, an independent bookstore, to walk to on weekends? And I'd worked in bookstores before, and retail certainly, and I'd worked at Continental Bakery for a long time, and just love community and love people walking in and regular customers, and was teaching when we started talking about it, and I was in Michigan having kind of a rough teaching year, 6th grade 2016, and was deciding what the next year would look like. And Kristen started posting online about dreaming a bookstore into existence.
And Laura messaged me or commented on a post that I had put up and said something like, if you're serious about this, I will move back to the South. And I'm sort of like pish posh, but also like, what? I remember having a conversation with my husband, like, really the person, and I mean, we knew it. We felt like kindreds. We didn't know each other that well, but I remember saying out loud to Brian, like, I feel like if there were one person I would do this with, it would be Laura Cotton. Like, I just totally trust her. I feel like we have a similar vision. I know she has great experience and good ideas. And then the idea kind of just like simmered for a while, and life went on. And then I don't know, maybe a year or more?
It was June of 2016, so I think you'd been talking about it for like 6 months or more.
Yeah.
And I had finished the school year. The school year ends in June in Michigan, and was deciding what came next. And Graham and I were my husband and I were talking about it, and I got on my phone to find Kristen's email address, to email her and say, let's do this. What do we do? Like, I want a more than casual role. What do we do?
Yeah.
And I had a message on my phone from her that said, what do I have to do to get you back to the South?
Like, literally.
So, and it was like 6 months since we had talked.
Yeah.
And it was the same morning.
Within moments. Yeah.
So that felt
crazy.
Serendipitous, and kind of a lot that we have done with the store has, you know, we've worked really hard on it, and the big breaks have come through those kind of moments.
Yeah.
Meeting Elizabeth, our other business partner, was similar, where she was dreaming these same dreams, and at a Christmas party, was talking to our friend Chip Brantley from Disco, and told him that what she really wanted to do was to open a bookstore community space, and that she wanted to do that in the next year. She was retiring from her pastor job, and he said, well, let me put you in touch with my friends.
Yeah, like, I have some people you need to meet. So that led to, like, you know, phone calls and coffee dates, and, you know, some soul searching, and just getting to know each other better. But it felt really right. Even, you know, at the junctures where there were hard decisions to make, or things, you know, when we were looking for spaces and a few things fell through, which felt disappointing, but never like really like a setback. Like, I always had the sense like it is going to happen. I feel like we're going to do this. So yeah, so here we are in the middle of the pandemic.
How is like operating been different since now we're talking about COVID? I mean, I'm guessing it's a lot different.
I mean, it's a little strange to talk about, because we were so new when all of this happened, and we opened up right at, you know, like high holiday season. So those operations were not typical. It was just, we were mobbed all day, every day, and still learning how to get our legs up under us. And we were kind of, I mean, I'm still a little bit amazed that we pulled off December and January, because it was like the amount of stuff we've learned since then is staggering. And I'm like, I can't believe we opened the store not knowing how to do these things.
Yeah. We learned a lot. And like, I had been working full-time retail for a couple of years before we opened, but Kristen and Elizabeth had not worked in retail in decades,
literally,
before we opened. And so it was like immediately just thrown into like full-time retail, customer service.
Yeah, it was, I mean,
and that's the way that we operated really until February. And then in February and March, things regulated, and we were learning how to have event schedules, and like, that was the very important thing. Like, we have to learn from in March and February how to have offsite events and to provide books for
community
like Rotary
partners.
meetings, and to host events in the store. And we were so concerned about it. And I think the last week we were open, we hosted we hosted 2 events and provided books for 3.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
Sunday we were like, oh, we're gonna close.
Yeah.
And we closed early. We closed March 15th because we were like,
Yeah.
we were busy on that Saturday. And we knew that it was coming. And it, like everywhere else, all the other cities around us were closed down.
Yeah.
We can't continue to be busy and to operate in this way. We want to be a hub for ideas.
Yeah.
We do not want to be a hub for the virus.
Yeah.
So we have been open since December 14th, 15th, 14th. The sales floor was closed from March 15th to like a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So we have been closed to the sales floor as long as we were open. And now we've been open for 2 weeks to appointment shopping. So it's kind of a hybrid. We luckily had chosen our point of sale because they have a good web integration. And we had not launched our web store until the Thursday before we closed on the Sunday, and we just decided like that Wednesday that we would talk to our folks and get everything launched by the weekend. And then from that Sunday, Monday on, we were completely online.
I mean, our website prior to the pandemic was just kind of a placeholder. I mean, it had our hours and our location and a couple really just basic things about us. But it was not a web store, and
that was certainly never our goal.
No, I mean, we were kind of like we want a web. I mean, ultimately we knew, it would be really nice to be able to for people who don't live in town to shop online, family and friends who want to support us, and but it was really low on the priority list to do that. And then the pandemic happened, and we realized like our entire model has to move from all of these lovely on the floor conversations, our story times on Saturdays, our book clubs and events, all of that has to find its place virtually. And I don't think we had too much time to like feel that loss.
Yeah.
Originally, but I remember I was in here for some event or book club, and afterward, I mean, I really just let myself cry. I was like, I feel like just all of it came out. It was like I paused for a minute and I realized like we made this beautiful store that was filled with people just a few weeks ago, and now here we are like just on another screen. And I still feel some sadness about that. I also feel proud that we learned what we did and acted quickly and have always tried to kind of act in the best interest of the community.
Absolutely. I mean, like you kind of like hit the ground running, and like, my mother is a small business owner, and she doesn't own a bookstore, but I know that it's hard just from growing up with my mom, who's had multiple businesses since I was little. I mean, it's your life's passion, it's not just your work, and you've hit the ground running, and you should probably write a book after this is another book about, the crazy things that I'm sure that as you're saying, that you're learning, and the things that you would never have thought of before due to just this crazy situation. But like, if you can overcome this, which it seems like you guys are thriving, I think that you'll be just fine. Like this is, I know I just met y'all, but I'm very proud of both you and your partner for holding it together and still like running a business. I mean, it's your first year.
I keep saying it, and it's like cliche at this point, and it was already cliche, but we were really lucky that we were in the mode of learning when this happened.
Yeah.
Because we really didn't have time to get stuck in our ways or to know what all we had figured out how to do. Because I think it would have been a lot harder if we did have our patterns really strictly in place.
That's a good point.
We were very already very
Yeah.
flexible, because what else could we have been? We were so new, and I
Yeah.
think that's a good point. We were still discovering our community and kind of inviting our community in, and so then just kind of had to learn how to do that in a different way. And I do think social media, well, we had an interview way back, and it was Javacia Harris Bowser had interviewed us and asked us, what role do you think social media plays? And at the time we were like,
it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the pandemic.
We were like, it's important, but
like,
it's not everything.
It helped us like get the word out about our grand opening. Yeah. And now it is everything.
And now it's everything. And honestly, it's easy to be like, kind of like curmudgeonly about that. But at the same time, a lot of really meaningful interactions have happened online. I feel like our community has grown online, and it is a bright spot to kind of just like have that, and to know that, when things eventually return to some hopefully better state of normal, everyone will be jazzed to come and see us, and we'll be so
totally.
And I will say, when we were in the like go of opening and having the sales floor just be busy and populated, we didn't really have a chance to do that much online and do that much like branding or like putting our vision out there. And now it has forced us to kind of put our ideals and identity on the internet, and think about like what is it that we want people to think of when they think of us, or why do we want people to visit us. And we hope that it's the same vibe you would get from visiting the store. Obviously not exactly the same, but just something. Yeah.
And so, like, I heard you say that you would have events and stuff at your store. What were some of the like the programs that you did, and like have they moved online, or how was that working out?
So we did, let's see, we had pre-pandemic, we hosted a couple of author events. So sort of readings followed by Q&As, or readings that were preceded by conversation, between two authors, and then opened up, for discussion from the attendees. We have 2 book clubs that started pre-pandemic that we are continuing to offer online. We do a paperback book club and then a new and notable book club. We try to choose, 2 great books a month, books that we're also interested in reading or discussing. And we would meet back in our kids section and have wine and some treats, and just keep it fun and, kind of worth people's Sunday evening. And now we've kept those book clubs at the same time. They're always at 5:30 on a Sunday. We do it on Zoom. We have our handful of regular attendees, and then usually we get some extra new folks. And it's great. It's nice to see people, even, in a gallery view, and talk about what we're reading.
So, like, what are the things that bring you joy, and how do you make time for them when life gets hectic, like it is in COVID? And have you picked up any new hobbies?
So obviously we're very involved in books and reading. writing. Kristen's a writer. So those periods of private reading and writing time have been really important always in our lives, and I've made time for it differently in different times. But COVID has forced me to slow down, and I find that I have more time in the morning now to focus on my reading and writing life than I did. And I'm involved in theater, and so I was in a play that opened the weekend of the shutdown, and we put up 3 shows and then closed. And so now I have all this evening time when I'm not in rehearsal, and can do a lot more reading and writing then. I don't know. I guess since the shutdown, I've joined a writing workshop. I've done a lot more hiking than I had before, and my theater community gets together every once in a while to read plays together, just to kind of play. But it's all on Zoom. So.
Yeah, I like Laura. I think I have definitely been doing more reading. Our truncated hours helps with that because our typical hours, are fairly long, and sometimes I would be so tired at the end of the day or in the morning to like really devote time, clear-headed time to thoughtful reading. Now I think, I don't know, I have a little bit more time to do that, and I've been enjoying that a lot. I get up really early and write. I've done that for a really long time. I did that pre-pandemic, and that just that hasn't changed, but my headspace certainly has. So yeah, that's, I guess, another story. But I think also as a family, my husband and kids and I, we've explored more of Alabama than I think we would have. The Cahaba River and just various trails and other places that are, right in the backyard that we've been here a long time that we haven't really had time to explore them before now. So yeah, I do think there's been a slowed down quality that that I have tried my best to appreciate and not, not try to fast forward through. But
yeah. I wanted to ask is, you said you wrote a book, no big deal, but you just wrote a book, which is kind of amazing. So congratulations on that. So what was it about? What is it? What's the title? So we can plug it.
I have it in the library, because don't think I haven't looked. But it's called Motherist. It came out in 2017. It's got a hot pink cover. We usually sell it here, but we've sold out and haven't restocked because our restock system is still a little wonky. But it's a coming of age novel about a young woman who kind of has a dysfunctional family.
And it's
highly relatable. Yeah, no big deal. Amazing. I would love to, not to put you on the spot on this, but I would love to interview you later about your book. I probably am gonna go get a copy. Tony Kristen Walker, he is the head of Birmingham AIDS Outreach, and he just, I met him through the Pride series, and he just wrote his own book, and I'm gonna be doing an artist talk with him. So in the future, if you are available, I would love to talk about your book, because I'm all about promoting great authors and local authors and amazing books. But I guess I wanted to ask you about that book to segue into like, what are both of your favorite books or films, or even just like artists, just influential people that have like really shaped like your life's work? That might be a loaded question as bookstore owners.
It's so hard to choose favorites. Like I do favorite.
Yeah, I do really badly at this question.
I know, me too. You would think we would like have it down by now, but I just freeze. I truly do.
I will say my easy go-to is Rebecca Lee's Bobcat, which is a short story collection. It's 7 stories, and each is just gorgeous and very lived in, I guess. And I read that while working at Avid Bookshop. It's published by Algonquin Books, which is not like a super small press, but it was a book that probably, had I not been working at a bookstore, I wouldn't have heard of. And it's also a book that everyone I know who has read it, who I mention it to, has this moment of like, oh my gosh, you love that book too. So that's my go-to.
I love the work of Lydia Davis. I feel like I would probably put her whole oeuvre up there as something that's been really important to me. I actually have not read a ton of Lydia Davis in recent months. She has a newish book of essays, a big chunky book of essays, but she's written novels and short stories and essays, as well as being a translator for Proust and other French writers. And I discovered her at a tender time when I was sort of figuring out what my own voice was and how to tell a story and what a story was. And I just feel like she opened up a whole world of self-expression to me, and also just how to read a little bit differently, how to read for things other than the plot, which continues to be an interesting just an interesting lens. I mean, I love a good plotty book, but Lydia Davis is someone who makes you really pay attention to each word and each sentence, and that's something that I feel a little cursed by, having been influenced by it, because I'm a very slow writer, and I have to pay attention to that kind of like cadence in language, and I'm not like a messy draft person. I'm like overly fastidious, and she's perhaps to blame. We both love poetry, and one of the things I think we're really excited about as we were planning our inventory was to offer the poets that we loved, and also maybe the like poets that maybe people haven't heard of, or whose books aren't readily available at other places. There are a lot of small press and independent press authors that I love, whose books we carry. And that was another thing that was kind of a pillar of our vision is, bestsellers are great and we love them. But I think some of the really interesting conversations and like happy little clustered moments that would take place in our store happened over these books that maybe not everybody's heard of, like Bobcat, I think is a great example. So yeah, I'm sorry that was long-winded, but
no, not at all.
Completely different answer, but that's where the spirit took me tonight. So
well, I've absolutely enjoyed having both of you as part of the series, and want to thank you again for your time. And I just want to end with asking you, like, how I mean, how can the community be of service to you right now? How do they, how can they find out about your book club on Sunday nights? I mean, is it on your Facebook page? Is that where they would sign up for that, or?
We have an event on our website. It's thankyoubookshop.com. And there's an events page with all the book clubs listed. This Sunday we have A Burning by Magda Mujamdar, and that's at 5:30 on Sunday. And that book is amazing. It is, speaking of bestsellers,
it's a bestseller.
It's a very buzzy book.
We stand
it
the
should
bestseller.
be a
Yeah,
bestseller.
it absolutely should be. But yeah, they're on our they're on Instagram, which some people aren't on Instagram, and the nature of Instagram is like, you missed the post. We're gonna try to hear about maybe highlighting things that are upcoming, but everything is always on our events page that's coming up. So that's kind of the most trustworthy an up-to-date spot to get our stuff.
And our website is pretty, we keep pretty on top of it.
Yeah.
So our whole inventory is there. The shopping is maybe not as user-friendly as it hopefully one day will be, but that's the best way to support us right now, is to just continue to shop on our store, or on our web store, as though it's our real store. And tune into our events, and tell us what email us what you're not seeing in our store. We are here for our community and want to be a reflection of our neighbors' tastes and interests. So
absolutely.
We're also donating portions of our merch sales to different local nonprofits. So this month we're donating to Magic City Acceptance Alliance, and so if you ever want a t-shirt, 10% of sales local organizations.
Yeah.
I'm a t-shirt collector, so thank you for that information. Also, can we buy your book on your website?
Not right now.
Are they on order?
Well, just let me know, and I will make sure to purchase it through your website, because I'm all about supporting local, so that way, even more legit. I'm not going to just go check out a copy. I mean, I love the library, but
if you love it, then you can try it. If you don't,
I check out things all the time. I'm just saying, you're a local artist. I should go and support you. I don't mind. Plus, during your our talk, I can hold it up for viewers and say, this is the book. Yeah, but well, thank you again, ladies. It's been amazing, and thank you for supporting the community and for being part of Birmingham.
Thank you, Jen. We really appreciate it. Bye, Jen.